In the 1920s and 1930s, golf roared in popularity with Americans. People of all classes enjoyed watching the golfing heroes swing their clubs. The fashion world took trends from the golf course and brought it to real life. Fancy colors, classic argyle sweaters, matched with two-tone shoes were all the rage. Many golfing heroes like Bobby Jones, Gene Scherzen, and Walter Higgins were all in their stride. And these three golfing heroes made up the trio known as Three Musketeers. Although the Depression stopped advances in golf, better courses and new advancements were also brought about because of the New Deal program. Golfing has survived many challenges, therefore earning a spot forever in America's history.
Boxing in the 1920s and 30s. Boxing in the 1920s was a hugely popular international sport. The National Boxing Association was formed in 1921. Some important boxers were Benny Lynch, Panama Al Brown, and Jack Dempsey. On July 1921, American boxer Jack Dempsey fought the challenger George Carpenter in New Jersey. Originally William Henry Dempsey, the American world heavyweight champion at the time, and the Orchid Kid, or Gorgeous George Carpenter, was the European champion. Dempsey was declared winner in the fourth round after knocking Carpenter out.
Baseball was America's favorite sport. It was very common for the families to go catch a game on the weekend. The New York Yankees was one of the most famous baseball teams in American history. On opening day in 1927, they had an attendance of over 73,000. Babe Ruth started his career on the Red Sox and then the New York Yankees, where he made his home run history, and he won over 98 games for the New York Yankees. In the 1920s, baseball became more organized and more like today's modern game. Baseball in the 1920s became America's favorite sport and America's favorite pastime.
Woo! People poured into stadiums to watch their teams compete. In 1926, World Series fans mobbed the streets in celebration. Players such as Babe Ruth became national icons. They say that the most famous moment in baseball history, and definitely Babe's career, came during Game 3 of the 1932 World Series against Chicago Cubs. Babe pointed out to the center of field bleachers when he slammed what is believed to be the best home run ever he hit out of Wrigley's Field, directed above the spot where he had pointed. The Yankees went on to win the 1932 World Series.
Football in the 1920s and 30s.
Football became popular in the 1920s. Prior to the 1920s, football was extremely unorganized and there were very few teams. College football seemed more popular than professional football. On September 17th of 1920, the NFL was formed. There were only 14 teams. Today that number has grown to 32 teams. By 1923, there were 20 teams in the NFL. Fritz Pollard and Johnny Marshall were the first two African Americans to join the NFL. Between 1920 and 1933, there were 13 African Americans in the league. The Depression couldn't stop the new media attention and excitement that football was gaining. It soon grew to become one of the largest sports in America. The attendance at most games began to rival that of the attendance at baseball games. George Halas played, coached, and owned the Chicago Bears. After helping form the NFL in 1920, he was awarded the franchise and helped pick out the orange and blue colors of their uniforms. Then he coached, played, and owned the Bears as they won the championship in 1921. He then continued to play for another 10 seasons, then retired to just coach and own the team.
Horse racing was a very popular sport. For many years, it was a controversy whether horse racing or boxing was one of America's favorite sports. As people in the 1930s started to lose their money due to the Great Depression, bigger payouts from the races gained people's interest. During the 1930s, some became bored with the predictable game of baseball and fed up with the corrupt game boxing was starting to be, and looked to horse racing as a new interest. Seabiscuit became a popular icon as well as Man o' War in the 1930s and 20s.
messed up.
Oh, I thought you said no.
Paying customers, paying